Have you ever played a Persona game before? Have you ever heard of the Persona or Shin Megami Tensei series? If you haven't, then you're missing out. Hello and welcome. My name is Taylor, or as I go by, the other guy TJB. You might have found this because you're legitimately curious as to what the Persona series or Persona 5 is, or maybe even because you've already come to know and love how incredible this game truly is. I'm here today to tell you why everyone has to try Persona 5 Royal, and why exactly this is a must-play game. I'll break down why this game has redefined the JRPG genre, how Persona 5 has set the bar at new heights, as well as breathing new life in the classic turn-based RPG. Quick disclaimer that footage and gameplay is all from a new Game Plus playthrough captured from my Twitch stream and OBS recordings. This is why from the footage you might notice my social stats are maxed off the bat, as well as Joker has over 500 HP and SP from the start. Also, you can find me over at twitch.tv/theotherguytjb on most nights starting around 6 to 7 p.m. Pacific time. Now, without further ado, let me hit you with the cold hard facts as to why you've messed up by not playing this incredible holy grail of the game yet. First, let's go over some questions you might have. What is Persona 5 or Persona 5 Royal? Imagine if Pokemon in your generic high school anime with a young teenage protagonist had a food baby. You then add a splash of Final Fantasy, drop in a smidge of Mass Effect, Salt Bay, a little Ocean's 11 in there, and last but not least, pour a nice hearty helping of some anime waifus, and voila! You got a fresh Persona 5 Royal right out the easy bake oven. Wait a minute, there's Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal? What's the difference? Persona 5 is the 5th installment of the series that came out worldwide in September of 2017, whereas Persona 5 Royal is essentially a remaster with an added semester, a bunch of quality of life changes, and added features that were released just last year in March of 2020. Should you play the game? Of fucking course you should. Well, why is this so good though? Because almost every detail of the game is so well done. Story, jaw-dropping. Gameplay, impeccable. Characters and voice acting, immaculate. Music and OST, fucking goated. The amount of bad things about this game are very few and far between. Let me further elaborate and break it down for y'all. Anything I talk about or use footage of will be pretty early on in the game, or will have no context to make sure that it stays spoiler free. Also for this, I'm going to be going over only the Royal version. Has more stuff to do as well as a bunch of quality of life changes compared to the original. In my opinion, if you're going to play this, you have to play the Royal version. Now then, let me preface this by saying that yes, I know this game won't be for everyone. First of all, it's really long. First playthroughs can range from 100 to 150 hours based on how big of a completionist you are. If you're me, that's great because there's nothing better than sinking your teeth into a game you really like and knowing the journey still has a way to go. This might seem intimidating, but if you love this game like I do, then you're going to appreciate how much there is to offer. But if you don't mind wanting to put time into a game, or you like turn-based combat and anime, then you have nothing to worry about. Even if you aren't the biggest fan of those things, you still very well might grow fond of Persona 5 and the series itself. Even though Persona 5 Royal story is a long one, it is also a great one. Here's a quick synopsis for those unfamiliar. You play as a protagonist, or as we'll call him, Joker. You start off right in the middle of a heist, being chased by security as you dash across the upper level of a casino. You have people in your comms trying to assist your exit while being pursued, even though you're not quite sure who these people assisting you are yet. Just after escaping, you find yourself surrounded and captured by police just before getting knocked unconscious. You wake up in an interrogation room only to get beat up, drugged, and questioned for Joker's heist in the casino. Shortly after the interrogation, we flash back to April 9th, where the game truly starts. Joker soon discovers the existence of the metaverse with fellow classmate Ryuji Sakamoto, and then entering your first palace. You discover why Joker was selected for this purpose as you embark on your journey to stop ruination. Atlus does a great job of starting you off, giving you more and more questions, and then slowly answering them as you get closer to the date of the incident of Joker's capture. There are a plethora of small hints and foreshadowing of characters and events in the future very early on in the game that you most likely won't notice in your first time playing. The story from start to finish is extremely sound and does a fantastic job drawing you in early on, getting you bought into the core mechanics and story, vested in the various characters, and leaving you locked in to seeing how Joker uses his resolve to ultimately save the world. As someone who appreciates good storytelling, I was hooked from start to finish. There's a few twists later on, as well as a mystery which some of you may or may not figure out, but I will not elaborate as to all of that material is spoilers. The metaverse is where all of the action of the story will be going down. Making your way through palaces and mementos early on presents you with the question of what is the metaverse, and why does it exist? Atlas does a good job of exploring this as well as getting the player to think about their own cognitions. Unfortunately, I won't go further into detail, but this is the main piece of the story. You'll get more details within the first 2 hours of playing as well. One of the best aspects of Persona 5 Royal is how good the characters are in this game. From the Phantom Thieves to the various characters in the story as well as the numerous confidants you will meet, each and every one is extremely well written and acted out. Each character really feels unique and their own. What's nice is amongst the Persona 5 community, different people have different favorite characters based off their personalities. It's easy to find communities that are fans of each character. There's a healthy amount of memes from different characters and their voice lines throughout the game as well, such as Ryuji's common catchphrase,
Real?
or one of my favorites, Morgana saying,
Ooh, we can do this!
one of the biggest parts of the game and daily life is spending time with various confidants and growing your bond with them. This gives Joker perks which help him in daily life as well as your time spent in the metaverse. Your confidants consist of your fellow Phantom Thieves as well as the different characters you meet and make deals with during the school year. This is similar to spending time with your platoon in Scarlet Nexus. Yes, I know Scarlet Nexus came out after Persona 5 Royal, but Persona makes these actually really fun and engaging. Instead of aimlessly watching a cutscene with dialogue between two characters, you actually get to choose how you respond to what they say, and thus get chances to get bomb points, which go towards increasing your confidence rank. Of course, the best way to do this is by picking the best responses that match well with what the character is going through as well as their personalities. This makes you actually think about what to say in each situation instead of mindlessly picking whatever answer you want. Some of the perks from various confidants are so strong I found myself always wanting to max confidence ranks as soon as possible. Atlas has had confidants be a part of the Persona series before, but they do such an incredible job of how they work within this game specifically. Spending time with confidants will never feel like a waste of time when the rewards are actually rewarding, and the stories that evolve as you rank them up are all entertaining and fun to experience. Of course, when it comes to the Persona 5 community and characters, there's the ongoing and never-ending war of who is the best waifu. In the end, you will have your own answer to this question, even though there are right and wrong answers to this question. Let me briefly state my thoughts on the matter. If you aren't Team Sei is Bae, Team Kawamami, or Team Cuck the Cat, then you may have the wrong waifu. There are other good answers even if you don't like one of those three, but I will conclude this topic by saying if Makoto is your waifu, then you probably just want a Dami Mommy. Now don't get mad at me just because you're the average Makoto fan with most people while I'm the average Ann enjoyer. So yeah, that's more than enough on that, so we'll move on. Gameplay is at the end of the day what makes Persona 5 Royal so incredibly great. The two biggest components of gameplay are going to be time and how you choose to spend it, and the combat. Throughout the game, Joker is given a multitude of choices of what to do each day. So unlike most high school students, you actually get to be productive. Throughout the story, you will have the choice of how to spend your time. You usually have the choice of how you want to spend your days and how you want to spend your nights. Some days you don't have the ability to use free time, such as days which are devoted to progressing the main story, or days where you have exams that are completely dedicated to the test and only studying. That said, there aren't too many days where you can't do anything, and even when you can't, it doesn't make a difference. Over the course of the game, you will have an ample amount of time to work on whatever you desire. When it comes to choosing what you do, the amount of options may seem limited at first, but ultimately you'll come to find the amount of things there are to do are oh so many. The two main things you'll spend your free time on will be spending time with confidants and increasing your social stats. I've already talked about confidants a bit, but I'll include that this is the best way to spend your time. Each confidant is represented by a different tarot card. There are 23 confidants in total in Persona 5 Royal, with 3 of them ranking up automatically as you progress through the story, while 1 of them is rewarded to you at the very end of the game, thus giving you a total of 19 confidence to level up and max on your own. Some of the confidants and perks they give can greatly help you out and make your life so much easier. One of the confidants is so OP they can actually help do certain things for you, helping to free up time and thus giving you more options on how to spend your time. Another confidant gives you the ability to one-shot shadows that are below a certain amount of levels based on your current level. Abilities like this not only feel so good, but are super beneficial in helping you out and can save a ton of time. Of course, it goes without saying some confidants are without a doubt better than others, but if you're going in blind, that's the beauty of discovering what confidants you want to rank up because you like, or for the sake of getting the perks they offer. Along with spending time with confidants, the other things you will find yourself focusing on will be leveling up Joker's social stats. Social stats are broken into 5 major categories: intelligence, guts, proficiency, kindness, and charm. When it comes to making decisions, almost everything you do that uses time will either give you points towards social stats or help rank up your confidants. Social stats are essentially just as important as the confidants themselves, because several confidants can't be leveled up or even unlocked until you've achieved a certain rank in specific stats. On the other hand, you can get points towards specific social stats by hanging out with confidants, which will help you boost a specific stat. Need more kindness? Hang out with the Hierophant or Tower confidants. Need extra guts? Hang out with the Death confidant. Maybe you need to get a higher proficiency as well as a little extra yen? You can work at the Beef Bowl shop to get both. There's a vast amount of options on different ways to increase your social stats, too, which include reading books, watching movies, making tools, going to the bathhouse, playing video games, studying, cleaning, and so forth. There's also cool bonuses such as studying on a rainy day will help you increase your ability to focus and give you extra points in knowledge. One of your teammates calls you to go see a movie the next day? That's a great way to increase your social sets for the movie you go see, as well as get points towards leveling up that confidant. This also, of course, doesn't include doing activities that don't use time but can still be extremely beneficial to you. On Sundays, you can purchase a smoothie, which will randomly give a point to one social stat. Buy a lotto ticket and wait a week to see if you win big. On Fridays at school, you can buy special bread that's a solid, cheap, and effective healing item. There's a confidant who can help you duplicate skill cards, or another one that will help you grow vegetables, which are essentially free restorative items. The game gives you so many options and things to do, it actually starts to feel like you have to manage your life as you do in real life. But never do you ever feel overwhelmed or stressed from doing so. Atlas does a great job of this by making it fun. Even if you forget to do something, it really isn't the end of the world, and given how long the game is, one mistake won't change anything at all. This is just another reason as to why this game is as great as it is. Now, let's get down and dirty on some deeds regarding combat and battling in this game. Joker and the Phantom Thieves will each have their own persona. Persona stats are broken down into 5 categories: strength, magic, endurance, agility, and luck. Strength affects the damage dealt by your character's basic attacks and physical abilities. Magic affects the damage dealt by all magic abilities. Endurance is your defensive stat and determines damage taken by enemy moves. Agility controls turn order as well as evasive chance. And finally, luck will increase your chance to crit with physical attacks as well as help with status affliction abilities. There's several different types of damage as well: physical, gun, fire, ice, wind, electric, psychokinesis, nuclear, bless, curse, and almighty. Physical gun damage can be increased by your strength stat, just like magic will increase fire, bless, curse, almighty damage, etc. Of course, this makes perfect sense because a bullet will hurt more just because you got a super jack persona, right? Each persona will have weaknesses and strength versus certain elements, so it's up to you to strategize your team and Joker's personas versus various opponents to best take on enemies' weaknesses as well as doing your best to shore up your own. Like I mentioned, the beginning of the game is pretty similar to Pokemon in the sense that you choose your persona's moves, as well as the fact that combat is turn-based. Combat feels good and makes sense. Everything is straightforward and will leave players who are used to turn-based RPGs right at home. My biggest complaint about the combat is that it can at times feel a bit too easy, especially earlier on and during the first half of the game or so. This really is in large part due to the fact that you will almost always ambush your enemies, which guarantees your party all goes first, before assuming normal turn order. That said, when you increase the difficulty, you will actually feel it. If you're looking to just enjoy the game without much gripe, or you might be newer to traditional RPGs, then normal might be the way to go. If you're looking to challenge yourself, I would recommend hard or even merciless, which is available as DLC. Diving back into the topic of personas, in Royal I believe there are 232 total personas for Joker to use, and that's including the 25 DLC personas you can add as well. This is also technically excluding all the fellow Phantom Thieves personas and Awakenings, which would include an additional 24 if you were to add those. So in conclusion, there's a lot of personas to use at your disposal. Thankfully, Igor and the twins have given you the luxury of using that which is the wondrous and magical Velvet Room. The Velvet Room is a magical place in which you can create new personas and even turn them into items in the most inhumane ways possible. How do you turn two personas into a new and even stronger persona? Well, with a guillotine, of course. Common sense. Different variations of persona fusion will become available over time as well. There's also the Gallows, Lockdown, and my personal favorite, the Alarm. And of course there's the Compendium, which is essentially a database of every persona you've ever had. Want an old persona back? Just pay a set amount of yen and poof, they're yours again. I spent so much time in the Velvet Room just trying to see what I can make and what the possibilities are. Later on in the game, when you've unlocked all the features for fusions, this might become a bit clearer and you might find yourself doing the exact same thing. The twins also offer you challenge battles. In the Velvet Room, these are short battles in which you can earn points based on meeting certain criteria during the battle. Get enough points and you'll be rewarded with free items as well. There are also additional challenge battles available with DLC. There are some other components to combat that I'll briefly mention but won't go into depth for the sake of how this is getting too long. With abilities such as Baton Pass, all-out attacks, various ways of doing technical damage, weapons and armor you can get and their perks, the amount of ways to increase your efficiency in combat feels endless. The amount of weapons at your disposal to navigate yourself to victory comes down to making sure you have what you need. For the hardcore gamers and completionists, be glad to know that in Royal there are 4 optional bosses that are sure to give you a challenge, even though I think only 2 of them are technically super bosses. The super bosses are surely enough to challenge anyone and require being max level and having the proper personas and strategies in order to come out victorious. I also recommend taking these on while playing on merciless difficulty for the best challenge. Then aside from all there is to do in-game, there is the Thieves' Den. From the main menu, you can access the Thieves' Den, which is a free space for you to explore where you can earn currency based off in-game accomplishments to unlock songs from the game, cutscenes, official artwork and posters, objects from the game to put on display in the center, and a free card game called Tycoon. Aside from customizing the area to your liking as well as listening to whatever songs you want, you may, like many others before you, go just to waste endless hours playing Tycoon. Tycoon is way too fun and is a completely unnecessary but greatly appreciated time suck. It can serve as a nice break from the grind after going ham playing for long periods of time as well. Alright, I saved the best for last, or at least in my opinion I did. But people may strongly disagree, but I'm gonna say it like it is. Persona 5 Royal has one of the greatest OSTs of all time, if not the best. Yep, I said it. It's just that good. I don't know what Shoji Meguro, who is the lead composer, was on when he made the songs for this game, but holy shit, I want to get my hands on it. This man went in the lab and decided to just start fucking shit up. This man pulled the Michael Jordan Jumpman dunk from the free throw line with this OST. That, combined with Lynn's incredible voice and singing, is what creates this masterpiece of an OST. Normally, when it comes to good OSTs, there's always a couple songs that are incredible. A couple good songs, and then there's some songs that leave you just going, meh. But Persona 5 Royal has so many songs that leave you going, aside from the big tracks in the game, the reason why this OST is so good is because even the small songs in this game perfectly captured the mood of what's going on throughout the game. Some creep comes up and is causing trouble, song for that. Romance is in the air, song for that. Songs for each of the different video games, they're all there. Track for when time is running out, you know it. My opinion, this is what really sets this apart from the other games. You can often find these tracks getting stuck in your head or humming along as you listen. Then there are those bangers I was talking about. Rapid fire coming at you real fast. Life will change. Last surprise. Rivers in the desert. Colors flying high. Hymn of the soul. Layer cake. Art. Beneath the breast. Instrumental and rain versions. Willpower. Life Goes On, The Whims of Fate, Our Beginning, and of course, the best song in the entire game, exclusive to Persona 5 Royal, the holy mecca that is, I Believe. Let me set the mood real quick. It's early on in the game. It's now time for Joker and the Phantom Thieves to finally take down the ruler of their first palace. The calling card has been sent. The Phantom Thieves are ready for their first takedown. You all ready up and head into the metaverse. And then Life Will Change starts playing. It sets in that this is do or die, and it's all on the line to steal the treasure and take down Shadow Kamoshida once and for all. It continues as you scale the castle and make your way up to the top. Finally see the treasure manifest and take it for your own. The song is just so good, and it just feels so much better with how perfectly it captures the mood and sets the tone. It really hypes you up and tells you that everything you've done is for this moment right here. The fact that so many songs in this game capture the moment and multiply it is what sets it apart from the others. Even songs unique to certain places and characters will have you going there just to hear them. Going to see Takami just to hear the smooth jazzy flow that is Butterfly Kiss, or spending time at Untouchable just to hear that funky fresh upbeat banger Layer Cake. I've actually placed some of my faves throughout this video just because of how good they are and just so you could admire them as well. Of course, I can't discuss music without mentioning the best of all. Where there is a beginning, there is also an ending. It's the final semester, and the very last palace in Persona 5 Royal. The moment of the final heist for Joker and the Phantom Thieves. Just like Life Will Change plays at the beginning of your first day of your first palace heist, I Believe only plays on the very last heist of your final palace. I Believe is a different adaptation of Life Will Change with hints of colors flying high. You once again make your way through the palace and into the final room before the final confrontation. You ascend up to the platform and up the massive amount of stairs, and then the chorus hits. I can't tell you how insane it felt hearing this for the first time, knowing what was about to happen, covered in goosebumps as I made my way to the very top preparing for what was going to be a bittersweet moment. The last hurrah, as well as the ending to a game I'd come to love oh so much. I'll admit, I'm not one to be emotional, but this moment had me feeling some kind of way. I'll leave it at that and hope that everyone who plays this game can experience such a moment from the game just like I had the pleasure of doing. Also, if you want the Persona 5 OST, Royal songs excluded unfortunately, you can catch them on Spotify. As humans, we make mistakes, and if anything is true in life, nothing is without its faults. That of course goes the same for this game. There's very little I dislike about this game, but I'll state a few points that should be brought up. One of the palace pretty much sucks. There's some cheesy enemies here, one of the puzzles is a total pain in the ass, and as someone who's done it 3+ times, it still doesn't make sense. And of course the final boss is a total fucking ball buster. This palace pales in comparison to its counterparts. Like an enemy or two in that palace, there are a few times in the game where you can get cheesed. Thankfully in Royal, and unlike the original Persona 5, if you die or wipe, you start from the last save room as opposed to going back to an entire week, which is a big yikes. The chances of this happening are few and far between, but still make sure you save often inside of a palace. For a game with a lot of dialogue, some people might get bored or not enjoy the parts where it might be a little drawn out, and I get that. Even though in my opinion I don't think it's too bad, and the quality of writing and voice acting is good enough to listen through, not everyone will agree with me. Thankfully there's a fast forward option which will fly through dialogue for parts you might not be interested in. As I mentioned before, there are moments when the game feels too easy, and if you are a fast learner, you can quickly figure out how to min-max and get through enemies and palaces without having to use much or any resources at all. Finally, not as much of a problem with the game, but more a concern I have is that how much Persona 5 is adored and loved by myself as well as much of the fan base. Is the bar now set too high for Persona 6 or future Shin Megami Tensei games? This game is so good, I'm worried that future installments might fail to exceed Persona 5 in things such as character and story. For that though, only time will tell. The amount of bad things about this game are so few compared to the many great things this game has to offer, which is why I think this game is a masterpiece. If I haven't convinced you to want to play this game more by even a little bit, then I don't know what else to say. I could keep talking about this game, but I would just keep going on with no end in sight. Persona 5 Royal is a great game, and once again, I truly wish you would give it a try if you haven't already. The Persona franchise has blown up a lot with the addition of this game, and rightfully so. With that said, I happily welcome you all to join and be a part of the Persona and Shin Megami Tensei community. So anyways, once this video is over, go get Persona 5 Royal and experience this bad boy for yourself. If you find out you like it, though Shin Megami Tensei 5 will be coming out later this year for the Nintendo Switch. Shin Megami Tensei 5 is also by Atlus and has many of the same mechanics as Persona. I will be streaming that on my Twitch channel as well as creating content for that once it comes out. Now with that, I bid you farewell and go on and awaken your own Persona. Thank you for watching this video. If you can please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you like this content. This is by far the most elaborate and time-consuming video to date, and I'm looking to only make this level of content and better going forward. So any support for this channel is greatly appreciated. If you like Persona 5 content, also I have a confidant ranking tier list as well as a waifu tier list in the video description. Careful for spoilers though. With that, thank you once again for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Deuces.